gentlemen, welcome on in to an absolutely fantastic episode of Bar Talk. Good morning, good evening, good night. Happy Thursday, happy Friday, happy Saturday, happy Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever it is that you are listening to this. I hope you guys are having the absolute best day ever. And remember, if it's not a good day, you, my friends, have the power to turn it around and make it a glorious one. I don't know why I'm in the mood to sing today. I think it's this potentially third cup of coffee I'm having right now. I don't know, guys. I'm in a good mood. Why am I in a good mood? I'm normally working right now. So it actually was kind of nice to be at home and get some grocery shopping done. I got to go into my workout studio, which I really haven't been able to do, guys, in like a year. So starting to get back into like the trend of that. Work has been busy. It's a beautiful thing because again, like I just look at where we were a year ago to now, and now we're busy and my hands hurt, which sounds weird, but like because I at Pizzeria Portofino, because I'm making so many like mixed drinks and we have a lot of liquor bottles and I'm constantly making drinks. My hands, I wake up the next day, my hands actually hurt. Probably isn't a good sign. I'm probably gonna have arthritis at some point. Hopefully I don't, but who knows? We'll see. Okay, anyways, guys, a few things before we get into today's guest. One, I have a new microphone. I'm super excited about this. Um, Literally, this was my like gift to myself for like making the 1 year mark, was like upgrading some new sound equipment. Hope it sounds beautiful in your ears or in your house or in your car or wherever it is that you're listening to Bar Talk right now. So guys, I got my first COVID shot. And I'm not going to be one of those people that like, go get your shot. Like, no, it's totally up to you. It's your decision. Do whatever you want to do. I will say this though. I went to the United Center. My good old buddy, Ed, who is one of my regulars, who's now back in the bar at Shinnick's. Very happy to see Ed. Was like, hey, call this number and they are going to, that you can get your COVID shot. And I was like, yeah, like absolutely. So here I was, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to take forever. Like what the hell? And so I was like, okay, well, I'm like waiting for my sister to get our carry out food. So let me call. And so I thought I was going to be on the phone for like, just like a holding time, like a wait time, and bring, hello. I was like, hello. They were like, yes. I was like, this is the line for the COVID shot, right? They were like, yes, it is. And I was like, okay, I want to get my COVID shot. Like I genuinely could not believe how fast it was. I think I was on the phone with her for like maybe like 7 minutes. It was super fast. I called them on Sunday. I got my first shot, which would have been Tuesday. And from the time, like I was really, I was much more like anxious, I think, than I thought I was going to be. Maybe it was because of like, oh my God, I can't believe it's actually happening. I also don't have insurance. So I was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm getting this done. Like, there's so many things like rattling through my brain. Right. And from the minute I parked my car in the United Center parking lot to being in line to sitting down, getting the shot in the observation room, in total, guys, I'm not exaggerating when I say I think it was like 20 minutes. And I said to the one woman, I was like, this was like I was like very stressed coming in. So I just want to say thank you for everything that you guys are doing, because you're actually making this like easier on me. So if anyone is in the Chicagoland area, go to the United Center. I seriously, I'm not exaggerating. Like the military should run like everything when it comes to that. I'd actually probably go to the doctor's office if it was that efficient. The truth of the matter is, I don't have a whole day to go to the doctor's office. Like, your girl's busy, okay? And they made that super painless. So if anyone is thinking about getting your COVID shot and you don't know where to go, no one's like telling me to say this. I just wanted to say, because I know like we're now getting to that point where we're trying to re-enter society and, trying to figure out what is the best thing to do. And to me, I was like, I work in the public. I'm around people a lot as a bartender. I have a lot of older family members. I have a lot of young nieces and nephews, and I want to be around them, even though I'm very healthy. Um, if that's what I can do to, help, then I'm gonna do it. Okay. Um, I had this epiphany. A lot of epiphanies happening to me lately, guys. Um, I think I've said it on here before, but I kind of wanted to elaborate on it a little bit more. Um, you can't move forward in life until you learn the lesson. Okay. What does it mean? I think I briefly talked about it when I interviewed Mr. Mike Rubio. Um, where the slogan for Bar Talk came from of we have more in common with each other than we have different did not come from me bartending. It came from me working at a ketamine office. So, um, I needed a job and I needed insurance. And my roommate, Jasper, was like, I have a job for you. This office that I work at is looking for a receptionist for ketamine. I was like, what is ketamine? I had no idea. Known as Special K, it's like a gateway drug. But doctors have found that when used properly, it can help with depression, OCD, anxiety, PTSD. And I was like, okay, like I'll do it. And obviously, I'm not going to say anything about the patients because that would be violating hella HIPAA laws. But I will say this. Obviously, working in the office, I did, like I would just see the files, not like I was like, being super duper creepy with them, but you see it so you make sure that you can give the patient what it is that they need. And every time a patient would come in, I would always say, yeah, never would have expected it. Never saw it coming, like, didn't think that was like, you look at these people and unfortunately, we don't wanna judge a book by its cover, but sometimes we do, and you would never look at the outside of a person and think that they were so hurt on the inside. And I remember having this conversation with, with one of the patients, and I don't even remember how it came up, but I can see his face, like, clear as day in my mind, and I don't remember his name, unfortunately, but I was like, "Dude, we have way more in common with each other than we have different." And he's like, "We do." And we just kept saying, and I remember the minute I figured that out, I was like, because I did, it was a job that it wasn't my job. Let's put it that way. It was a job that I apparently, the universe put in, put in front of me that said, you need to go here because there's something that you need to learn. And I said, okay, I'll go here. And once I figured that out, guys, I'm not exaggerating. I put in my 2 weeks a week later. I was like, okay, I have learned everything that I need to learn. Now it's time to move on. So, for those of you listening, and maybe you are in a job or you're not doing exactly what it is you want to do right now, okay? And it can be frustrating because in your mind, you know what it is that you want to do, but you don't understand why you're not moving forward and why hasn't the next chapter happened and why can't I do it? It's because you haven't learned the lesson. Okay. So maybe take some time to reflect on where you are at presently, like in the moment, like just, kind of stop, get your feet settled into the ground, look around you, um, because there's something that you need to learn before you can really move forward. Okay. So that is my 2 cents for today. Okay, guys, our guest today is Mr. Frank Ruffolo. And before we get into that, let me tell you a little bit about our lovely sponsors. Okay, guys, so baseball is back. Baseball is coming back. Your girl cannot wait to go to Comiskey. I will never call it Guaranteed Rate Field. I never called it US Cellular Field. It will always be Comiskey. Okay. So, um, Margot Page is the purse, ladies, that you are going to want to wear for all events coming up this summer. Okay. So, events are slowly starting to come back into place. We're not really sure what it's going to look like, but we'll know more, I think, in the upcoming weeks and months ahead. But, with a new season, comes a new fashion. All right. And I'm telling you right now, you are going to want to go to margotpage.com and check out their clear handbags. It is the handbag for all year wear, made with durable and recycled material. Um, I love the clear tote, guys. And what's really cool about the clear tote is there's a black bag that comes in it. So you can like still hide your stuff so it can still look like clean. But if you are going to a game or maybe you're going to the beach or something, you can always take it out and just make it clear. I know that I will be wearing the crossbody fringed bag for opening day if I'm able to go. So guys, head on over to their Instagram account, which is Margot_page, or head on over to their website, which is margotpage.com, and use promo code BARTALK10 to get 10% off your next order. Gentlemen, maybe your lady needs a new bag. I think she would like this way more than you know. So head on over there and don't forget to use promo code BARTALK10. All right, guys, in the background, if you are watching this, I have my gorgeous candle burning, the Slancha from LYW Candles. LYW Candles standing for Light Your Way. Hannah is working on some new scents coming out, which I'm really excited for, and some new collaborations on her end. So guys, you are going to want to be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, two of my absolute favorite scents are the Slancha, the one that I have burning, made with some rosemary, sage, mahogany, tea wood, and whiskey. And then I also love the Celine. That one is in honor of my grandmother. That is rosemary, sage, and white birch. Beautiful colors, beautiful to have at your at-home bar, in your home to make it smell beautiful. I actually put the Celine in my bedroom, and I always kind of like aromatherapy, make my room smell beautiful before I get ready to go to bed. So I light it as I'm doing my like end of the night skincare routine, shut the door. And then when I walk in, it is just like the most glorious smell on the planet. So guys, LYW is giving you 20% off your next order using code BARTALK20. So head on over to their Instagram account, which is LYW Candles, or their website, which is lywcandles.com, and get 20% off your next order using promo code BARTALK20. Okay. So guys, one of my absolute favorite restaurants, period, is Franco's. So I live in Bridgeport, grew up in Bridgeport, and I love the vibe of Franco's. I love the feel of Franco's. I love the hospitality of Franco's. And to me, it's one of those, it's such a, not odd combination. That's not the right word. It's a beautiful blend of a neighborhood feel with great service, great food at such an affordable cost. So I realized when I was reaching out to Frank Ruffolo, Frank runs Franco's, El Culaccino's, Frank's at the fountain. The man does so much. He was my first boss. Okay. So my very first job was selling Italian ice at the Taste of Chicago when I was like, maybe 15. I was either like 15 or 16. And I remember being like, who's my boss? And they were like, it's Frank. I was like, yeah, but he's my age. Like, what do you mean he's my boss? Like, I didn't understand it. And guys, Frank took over his family's restaurant. Franco's has been in his family since the late 80s. And he completely took it over at 24. So I have worked now in the restaurant industry for 8 years. I understand how absolutely bananas that is to work in a restaurant, but to run it, like fully run it, and not only run it, but run it so elegantly and smoothly, effortlessly, like Frank does. Guys, it's incredible. Um, we talked about, why he wanted to do this because what we learned from our conversation was his parents didn't want him to go into this business, but he had a calling and I wanted to know why. Like he didn't have to, but he did. So you're going to have to stay tuned to listen to his answer. Um but guys, I'm not kidding you. Like I have a hard time because everyone's like, "What's your favorite thing?" And I was like, "I don't know because I everything I eat is my favorite thing." I always love their specials. Anytime they have a fish special, I always get it. It is always superb. Um But like when I think of their pastas, I love the spicy penny pesto, the vodka sauce with the whipped ricotta, the beet salad I am obsessed with. I don't even like beets. Like I actually hate beets, but I will eat their beet salad like lick the bowl clean. So good. Their chicken jardiniere dish is outstanding. Like I can go on and on about the whole menu. Um, and they have a phenomenal wine selection. And you know your girl loves some booze, and I love me some wine. Um, and I went to El Culaccino, Frank's Baby, I think we'll call it. Yeah, Frank's Baby, which is located in the South Loop. So it is on Indiana and Cermak, just in the shadows of the Wintrust Arena and McCormick Place. And guys, they have the most beautiful outdoor patio that has this like retractable roof. It is gorgeous. I'm telling you guys, as like dining is continuing, you're totally gonna want to go there. Like it's going to be an absolutely amazing experience for you. And I can go on and on about how amazing it is, how great the vibe is. But I'm just gonna let you guys just, let's just get into the interview. Let's just get into mine and Frank's conversation because I can ramble on about this all day. So, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why you are all here today, without further ado, Frank Ruffolo. So tell me what I'm drinking, because I let you pick. So what am I drinking today?
So it's a Cloudy Bay Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay.
Really popular. Getting into a little bit warmer weather, so you're not going to drink some heavy, red wine or something like that. So sell a ton of it. People enjoy it. So see if you like it.
A lot of green apples.
There you go.
A lot of pears.
Yeah. Sommelier in training.
Mm-hmm. That would have been my other job at some point, but that's a lot of training, man.
Yeah, that's a lot. Mm-hmm. These master somms go through crazy. And right now, like any restaurant that I know of that had a master somm, they were like the first people to be let go of. You don't need them when you're dealing with all this stuff. So just like everything else, their world got turned upside down.
A little bit of an understatement. So Frank, cheers. I really appreciate you having me come in.
Thanks for coming. Yes. Appreciate it.
So as I was getting ready for us to talk today, I realized that you were my first boss.
Where?
At the Taste of Chicago.
Oh, did you see? We've employed so many people from like Bridgeport and Beverly that like between my father and Franconello employing like half the teenagers out there.
Yeah.
And then the Taste, we've been doing it for so long between my uncles, my dad, and me. Like there's always someone that said they've worked with us.
So let's put it this way. I'll tease it so everyone listening or watching will stay tuned. The most interesting human experience happened to me working at the Taste.
It's a great way to put it.
So we'll keep that there.
It's a very good way to put it.
We'll keep that there. Okay, so I want to go back to the very beginning.
Okay.
You being a kid, Sunday dinner in an Italian family.
Yep.
The house is loud. There's either Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons playing in the background, or Frank Sinatra. The sauce has been on the stove for probably 3 hours at this point.
Okay.
Everyone's getting ready to come over. You're setting up the kitchen table. Everyone's yelling and screaming, but there's love in the air. Take me through the very first time you remember falling in love with food.
I don't think there's a time because that's all like my family's life ever focused around. That's all we talked about. Not because, everyone just eating a stupid amount, but my father made his living. My father provided for his family after his father passed with food. They started with hot dog carts. Then he had beef stands and panzerotis and stuff like that. So food was really all they ever knew between my grandmother and my Nona, teaching my father these recipes and my dad going with it. And my memories were, we had Sundays dinners, but a lot of times Sunday mornings I would go to the restaurants with my father. So back before you just swiped a card to process a credit card, you had to take the imprint, and then the next day you had to go Z it out. So Z it out was like capturing all the payments, batching it out. So I would go with my father on Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings. I'd be a little kid working in the back office, and that's just my memory. So I remember when the Greco deliveries would come in or the produce deliveries, and I'd be messing around on the trucks and stuff like that. So food's really all we ever knew. And then back to what you were saying, being your first boss, when I was 13, 14 years old, I was at the Taste of Chicago around food. So that's really all we ever grew up around. And then even in college, I was taking our homemade sauce or sausages or meatballs, I was taking them to kids back in Ohio and like giving it to them. And, they just never tasted anything like that because these kids grew up on, ragu and Prego. Yeah. And I'm bringing them sauce that, is a family recipe and homemade meatballs. So it's really something that it's just a part of our life. It's not one faction. That's what it is. You know what I mean? So
it's a little bit of everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember working the taste and being like, wait, who's my boss? And they were like, Frank. I was like, yeah, but he's my age. And I'm like 14 right now.
I was there forever. And you know what? My father... the way we say it is like you phase out of it once in a while, right? So you don't want to deal with the crazy people. It's hot. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, my dad's like, yeah, if you want to do this, go ahead and do it. So my uncle would be there during the day, my Uncle Sam. All my uncles did it. My Uncle Ronnie, who has hash browns, he had a booth down there too. So there at a point, there were 2 or 3 booths with Ruffolos, and then half of Bridgeport and half of Beverly.
Yeah.
So that's just how it was. It was a fun time, but at a certain point, you don't want to do it anymore. So my dad's like, if you want to do it, you go do it. If not, I'm going to let Uncle Sam do it. So I started legitimately running it when I couldn't even drive down there. I had someone else drive us there, and that was it. Haven't stopped since. So.
Oh, my God. Yeah, just crazy. So Frank the Kid was just always a part of it. Like, obviously, we're at, please don't be mad at my, lack of Italian being able to speak. El Cucino?
Il Culaccino. So if you could say cappuccino, Culaccino.
Culaccino. Okay, so we're at El Culaccino, your baby, but Franco's was the original baby.
Yes, and that's still like, if I make 2 million restaurants in my life, Franco's will have a special place in my heart because that's where I started. And not only where I started, but that's where my father started with like sit-down dining.
Yeah.
So he opened that in '89. After doing hot dogs and pizzas and all that stuff. He opened that. My mother got involved with that when my father went to open Franconello in Beverly. He opened it in '93. Then we opened Jam and Honey in Lincoln Park in 2011. I get out of college. I take over Franco's and renovate it. And so that's like 2016.
Yeah.
That same summer, I opened up a place at Buckingham Fountain called Franco's at the Fountain. And then 2019, I opened up this.
Yeah.
But Franco's was like, kind of not the proof of concept, but like, do you really want to get into this? So my father and mother did not want me in this industry.
Why?
It's a bad business. It's not like it was before. Before, if you had good food, good service in a nice restaurant, you were good.
Yeah.
Now it's good food, good service. Are you active on social media? Are you doing enough outreach? Are you on Uber Eats? Are you on this? And people can't be pleased like they were before.
No.
My whole thing is, I want to take you back to the days of dinner was the event. It wasn't dinner to go out. It wasn't dinner to go to someone's house. You were at the restaurant. You'd show up an hour early. You'd sit at the bar. People were dressed up. They weren't in sweatpants and sneakers and hats. So, dinner might have been a 4 or 5 hour event. There were no cell phones that were slowing everything down. You'd go to the bar. You'd meet the people you're going to dinner with. You'd have a cocktail. You'd go to the table. You'd eat your meal. You'd enjoy it. And then you'd go back to the bar. Or you'd go to another restaurant. Now, those days are over and done with. So that's what I always try to bring back is enjoy, have the ambiance, have the music, have the service, and if you could have a nice combination of all that, then you're all right.
It's taking an ordinary moment and making it an extraordinary moment.
And it's trying to get you away from the normalcies of, okay, it's a Thursday night, I got an hour for dinner, let me get in, get out, and go.
Yeah.
Any of these old school supper clubs and these old school Chicago staples like the Giannotti's and all those places, there were regulars there every weekend, and that's the place. Just like your family's bar. I mean, the people. They grow up with you. I mean, I have customers in Bridgeport that have been coming in since day one when my father started.
Yeah.
And that's what's nice is because you see them grow older. So I have grandparents, parents, and kids coming in. And that's what I enjoy because, you had their christening, you had their first communion, you might have a funeral luncheon. You get the full circle of life with it. So that's the one thing I like about it. But my parents didn't want me to do it. I went to college. They're like, get out of this.
What did you go to school for? Because I thought it was something for this.
So I went to school for business management.
Okay.
And then my senior year, I already knew I was going back into the restaurants. I didn't know what I was going to do. Me and my father sat down, and I'm like, you know what? Let's do something with Franco's. It needed a facelift. It was 30 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's just take it back to like an old school red sauce joint, but affordable and something where people could come in 3 times a week, not 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So I did that. It worked. It took off, and then just kind of kept going from there.
I love that saying. I heard you say it on, was it Chicago is Best? And I was like, oh my God, it's so true. Like, we all have those places that are we go to that are like the once a quarter, you know, but you don't really have. You don't have this. You don't have that connection.
You're just a name
people.
in a reservation system.
That's
you know what
it.
I mean? That's all it is. And they can see, and I'm lucky with Franco's, knock on wood, with my staff is, they know who someone is as soon as they answer the phone. Without the caller ID, they know someone's voice, they know their order. So that's what means a lot. And that's how we've been able to stay alive in this business between Franco's and Franconello. We've been around for 30 years at both places, and those are both close-knit communities where if you support them, they support you. So Beverly, I mean, we couldn't have made it without those families out there, because they come in for graduations, for special events. They kept us afloat during the pandemic, so nothing but good things to say about them. Just like Bridgeport, because if you're not an active part of that community, then you're just, you know, some corporate-owned place that has nothing to do with their business. So.
Yeah. I remember saying to myself when, like a year ago, and it was like, oh my God, you know, like, my thought was, where do I want to go out and eat at in a year from now when I can open? And I was like, Franco's. Yeah. I'm like, it's my favorite girls' night. It's my favorite going out with my sisters, taking my parents. And it's like, you have to realize that even though the door is open, doesn't mean it's great. Yeah. It just means the door is open. You need to take 100%. Care of your neighbors. You need to take care of the neighborhood.
The best thing I saw was, like, someone posted something online, you know, remember that place that you asked for gift cards? Well, they're calling in a favor now. And it's so true because, honestly, if someone asks me for something to support it, I'm all for it. But it's not, you're not helping me. You're helping my staff of 25 people. You're helping my staff of 50 at Franconello's, or a staff of, 400. I kept all my people employed just because I've had a cook that's been with us for 30 years. Wow. And then I've had the rest of my staff, I'm very lucky, have been with me since I remodeled 5 years ago. So I don't have a turnover there. So I can't, in good conscience, let those people go and just say, yeah, when I need you, I'll call you. Yeah. So we kept them all afloat, and Bridgeport was great with us, and they were still taking care of my staff, which all I could ask for, and that's what really counts in it.
So when you were a kid and you were coming in on Sundays with your dad, doing everything, did you have a vision in your head of what you would do one day?
I always thought I would take over Franconello. I love Franconello. It's a big restaurant. The kitchen's gigantic. There's 2 full kitchens. And the funny story with that is, even after my parents said they don't want me involved in the business, the day I was born, my father closed on the property for Franconello.
Stop it.
So that's
that's
tie
poetic
with
as hell.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's well, you did do this.
Yeah.
So it's funny now, 28 years later, I'm doing a renovation of Franconello. I'm putting this same retractable roof on there. So Franconello and Franco's hold a near spot to my heart because those were my family businesses. That's where I grew up, and I always thought I'd end up in one of them, and I guess I did.
I guess you did. Yeah. I mean, it's I don't think it's ironic at all that you knew what was going to happen one day. And here you are right now, and we're at the birthplace of, to me, this is your first child, I would say.
Yeah, this was no prior customer base.
Yeah.
No, it's not like I took something. This was brand new, brick and mortar. We chose this spot because of McCormick Place. Mm-hmm. And I have a ton of customers from the South Loop that were coming to Franco's anyways.
Oh.
So it was kind of a happy medium. We chose it because of McCormick Place in this big patio. So with this patio, I put this gigantic retractable roof on it.
Love it.
And it doubled the size of my restaurant. So this was meant to be the private event space. So from March until June of 2020, this room was booked out 3 to 4 times a day because it was just private events. So I had this room booked out. My normal dining room would have been, just busy normal. And then the pandemic hits. But what I was able to do is this room was open and set up, and it kind of met all the city COVID guidelines. Yep. So by the time we were able to open back up for indoor dining, I had this roof. People were like, oh, did you do this just because of COVID? I'm like, no, I wish I had a magic 8-ball like that, but it just worked out. So this kept me alive and relevant in so many ways because I was able to accommodate my customers from Franconello and Franco's. And then I was able to accommodate all the locals of the South Loop because I was one of the only places open that was able to see people in a comfortable atmosphere, and you weren't in a tent or you weren't in an alley. or you weren't, shoved on the sidewalk. Don't get me wrong, those little sidewalk patios are great. I have it at Franco's and it's phenomenal, but this ambiance is a legit room.
Yeah.
And it just has the ability to kind of turn into a convertible, open up, and feel like you're outside.
You had some angels on the other side
100%.
who really helped you in the
100%.
before you even realized
yes.
it.
If I didn't have this, I don't think I would still be in this location right now.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, if I didn't have a patio, you couldn't use the inside, and I can't set up a patio on Indiana. So thank God I had this. This was the best decision I could have done. I wish if I knew it was going to be this popular, I made the inside smaller and made this bigger. But it worked out. I don't know who's watching me or who's looking. It must be my grandfather's up in heaven or something, because this was a lifesaver and kept us alive. So
it worked out.
Yes, it did.
It worked out. Where do you see you taking all of this? Like, you don't need to give me the full, what's in your deck, because I know you keep those close to your heart. But again, you were that little kid who had that vision of coming in here too. Yep. Now you're the adult who's, I'm thinking, has something too.
I never want to get too big where you lose touch with your customers.
Okay.
But I'm not going to be just a 5-restaurant type of person. After building out 2 restaurants now, I enjoy the process. I enjoy putting it together, what works, what doesn't. So there's definitely a couple other things that I'm working on. But right now, my main focus is keeping my staff employed, keeping the customers coming in, and I'll remember the customers that supported me through this whole pandemic, the customers that ordered carryout 2 or 3 nights a week, and those are the people that I'll go above and beyond for, to do whatever I can to help them, because without them, I wouldn't have been open. So my biggest thing, especially right now, training new staff, is just the focus is all on the customers. They might not always be right, but let them pretend that they think they're right, and try to accommodate them the best you can.
Right.
And I'm not just going to jump into some restaurant because you can get a good deal on a lease or a good deal on a property. We take a lot of time to pinpoint the right area, look at the demographics, see if it's feasible, and see if there's a need. And I don't always replicate the same concept or do the same thing. We do breakfast, we do lunch. So we go into an area that we think needs and need to fill this void or whatever it is. And we go from there. So there's definitely some plans. But right now it's sustaining and surviving. It's the survival mode that we're in. I think the rest of this year is going to be rough and pretty tricky also.
Yeah.
So, you made it through the hard part. So if you could do what you did the past year, I think going forward, as long as you can adapt and ebb and flow, you'll be all right.
Yeah, I think, as much as like the tide is turning and, people are getting their vaccines and capacity is increasing and more people are starting to feel more comfortable going out, I look at someone like myself who really, I didn't work for 7 months.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, it's great, but I still got 7 months of backlog that I need to play catch up on, and I think there's a lot of people like me and kind of like you in that situation where there's a lot of catch up. So again, for anyone who's listening or watching, yes, things are opening, yes, things are getting better, but it doesn't mean it's where it needs to be at.
No, and especially in my business, and I'm sure you guys see it too. A busy Friday and Saturday, that's great, but you have 5 other days of the week.
Yep.
So if Monday through Thursday you're just treading water, Friday and Saturday you're paying bills, that's it.
Yep.
So it's going to be a tricky time. I think carryout is going to stick around in a big way for a long time. I look at Franco's, it's a 50-seater, and it was a close, intimate restaurant. It's not going to be like that for a while.
Yeah.
People aren't going to feel comfortable with it in sitting that close to someone, which is fine. You have to adapt. But my biggest thing, and I've been saying this the whole time, is if you're not comfortable going out, stay home.
Yeah.
Order carryout. Support them in another way. Order a gift card. Don't subject yourself to going out and feeling uncomfortable and then making it a bad experience for everyone else with you.
Yeah.
Because even you're going to have the people a year from now that they're going to still have the tape measure and measure 6 feet. And they're still going to make sure it's open air or whatever it is. And that's fine. That's everyone's personal belief. But you have to understand, restaurants, bars, venues, they've been through a crazy, crazy year. And just because you hear capacity's open doesn't mean anything. So when they lifted us and put us at 50%, it was the week of the snowstorm. So people ask me are you busy?
Yeah.
And I just turned the question around have you gone out? No, it's been a terrible couple of weeks. I'm like, well, there's your answer. Like, don't ask me.
Yeah.
So, I'm convinced that was like the weathermen and politicians getting together like, hey, let's keep the COVID rate down. All right, no problem. Here's a blizzard of the century.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I've never explained to people how I've made money because I just think that's a strange conversation to have. But, like, as someone who's in the industry, like, you understand, like, this is the time where, you make a lot of money. This is the time that you don't. So I remember people being like, oh my God, it's so amazing. January, look, it's 40%. I'm like, you don't go out.
No.
People don't go out in January, February, and March.
You work all year for December, right?
Yes.
December is the month when everyone goes out, from the second week in December to like the week after New Year's. It's a busy time.
Yep.
You do crazy gift card sales, events, catering.
All
but
of it.
then from New Year's, like the week after New Year's to Valentine's Day, you're dead. And people are using those gift cards that they purchase, and you're just treading water. So everything that you went crazy for in December, extra staff, extra ordering, extra booze, you generated more sales, but your bills were larger, so it's a wash, and then you're carrying yourself for a month or 2 months.
Yep.
So it's just a crazy, crazy industry. And then when you look into like the winners, the weathermen are just the biggest fear mongers.
Oh my God, yeah.
So they try to sell salt and shovels and kill business. So unless you're a pizza place or a carry-out place, when you have a snowstorm, you're the only ones busy. And now even when there's big sports events, when the Hawks go long or there's the World Series or something like that, you guys might get a buzz at the bars, but restaurants don't. Because that Friday and Saturday night when there's a game, or that Wednesday night when there's a game, whatever it is, no one goes out. They go to a bar, or they order pizza. And even if they do go to a bar, they could only drink so much. So they might get a bucket of beers, but then they're holding that table up all night. So it's it's a ballerina dance that we're playing, and eventually it'll even out.
It will even out. Okay, so last question, and then we'll just go into a fun rapid fire. This is a family business, and it's also your passion, and it shows in the food, it shows in the wine, it shows in the minute you walk in, you feel it. You didn't have to do this.
No.
Like, you totally did not have to do this. So why did you decide to do this?
As crazy as it is and hectic as it is, where I work 7 days a week, I leave my house at 9, I might not get home till midnight or 1 o'clock. I can't see myself doing anything else. I know it sounds cheesy, but when you see your mother and father working in this industry, and there's no normalcy, there's no nothing like that, it's just what I knew. I'm lucky that I have the ability to do it where my father and mother trust me enough where I really run all the places, and they are semi-retired where they split time between here and their other house. My girlfriend was in the industry before too, so she kind of understands it. She helps out here on the weekends. She does all the social media, which is awesome, because if not, she wouldn't see me. So it's great that she comes and helps out with it. But I enjoy the human interaction. You don't realize the fact that you need to see people, especially during COVID when it was all over the phone or online and you were seeing these crazy Uber drivers. It was great to see people back in the restaurant. So as soon as it opened up and we could have people indoors, it was very weird to see a full house and to see the customers that you haven't seen in a while. So I enjoy it. I don't know how long I can do it for, because it's a stressful and tiring industry. I'm not just a restaurant owner. I'm a plumber, an electrician, a mechanic, a psychiatrist with my employees, a babysitter. So it's
a cook, a sommelier.
I do it all. And just when stuff starts going well, something comes and interrupts it. It never fails. It's a Friday night when you're busy, something happens. But I enjoy it. I like it. I've been successful with it so far. I feel lucky that I have the support I do between my customers and the loyal patrons. So I'll do it for as long as I can, as long as it's feasible. We'll go from there on it, see what happens.
Do you know what your why is?
My why?
Yeah. Some people know, some people don't. I'm always curious if you figured that out, or...
I can't describe it. I know what I'm doing. I know how to do it. I have the ability to kind of solve on the fly. But my big thing is I want people to come, have an experience, and remember that dinner they had at Culaccino or that birthday party they had at Franco's. And if I'm able to kind of facilitate that with people, and my restaurants are a part of those memories that they made, then I'm happy with it. I want to be that place where you celebrate something, but you also just have a great dinner on a Tuesday night. So if I'm able to do that and stay relevant in people's minds, and they don't need to know me. I don't need to be known. I don't need to be, that's that guy from Franco's. But if they remember my places and remember, hey, that great chicken giardiniera I had, or those homemade gnocchis, then I'm happy with it. So.
All right, I will cheers to that.
Thank you.
Okay, ridiculous random rapid fire questions.
Okay.
This is literally just all over the place.
Sure.
What feels illegal but isn't?
What feels illegal but isn't? I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Okay, I'll give you mine.
What?
Waving at a baby in public that's not related to you.
You know what? I see that a lot here because some customers, like, they come in with their kids and they just, like, this happened this weekend with Natalie.
Yeah.
They just pass the baby to her. And, like, I had to tell the server, I'm like, don't pick up people's kids. Like, God forbid you fall with that kid, and they're going to come and blame me. Like, they're not going to blame my server, Ashley. They're going to blame you as the business, and they're going to come after me. I'm like, don't pick up the kids. You want to give them a high five or whatever? Like, I agree with you. That one's definitely something that's a gray area. But that goes back to the parents.
Yeah.
If the parents are like, yeah, here, take my kid. Like, no. I'm not a babysitter.
No.
Like, you're here for food. Keep them under control. If we know them and we're comfortable with it, that's fine.
Right.
But no, if you're like driving and you waved, that's
it's
a little
strange.
sketchy.
I know.
I'll get with you on that.
I know. Drink of choice when you're out.
I like wine, but if I'm like just having a quick drink, I'll drink like a Tito's and ginger ale or something like that. Occasionally like a Johnny Walker.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of whiskeys. I've had some bad experiences with that in college, but I'm slowly entering into it. The hard thing is, especially in my business, is like people offer me a cocktail all the time, but this is my office, right?
Exactly.
I don't come to your office at 9 a.m. like, hey, come on, let's have a cocktail. So I'm not rude. I'm not being ignorant, but I'm around booze all the time. This is a bad business where when you get done at 11 or 10 o'clock, you're not going to a gym, you're not going to a restaurant, you're going to a bar. So I never got into that habit of like just having a nightcap at the end of the day. I want to be professional and be able to serve every guest that comes in here. But a lot of people will just sit at their bar at the end of the night and have a drink. And yeah, it's great, but you got to remember, this is my inventory.
Right.
This is my money hanging on the wall. So yeah, I could have that great bottle of Louis XIII, but I'm not going to dip into that at the end of the night and just start going because, that's not the proper thing, I believe. There's a couple great restaurateurs that I know that if they had a cocktail, they actually paid for it.
They always, that's my boss.
You know what I mean?
They always pay.
Whatever they have, and it doesn't matter because at the end, their credit card is probably a business credit card anyways.
But still.
But it's the reason that you're showing your staff, if I don't have anything for free, you're not comping someone's drink and you're not going frivolous. And I have friends that they could send that table a dessert and send that table an appetizer. At the end of the night, they pay with their tab.
Yeah.
My father told me that from day one, like, don't pick up everybody's bill. If I had the money that I picked up people's bills, I could have like a private island somewhere. And you know what? I rather send a complete stranger a dessert or a cocktail because that stranger is going to come in and be like, man, he didn't know me. This is my first time here. That's awesome. They're going to appreciate it. I mean, I had a customer at Franco's that was coming in for lunch 4 or 5 days a week for a month. Yeah. And I got to know him. He's a nice guy. And it was a salad and a glass of wine. And one day I picked up his check. Yeah. And he called me over. He said, you seem like a very nice guy, and I appreciate this. I was going to another restaurant, and I went there for a year, and they never so much as sent me a cocktail. He goes, you have me as a customer for life. So that guy who I didn't know from Adam, that was just, honestly, if I didn't even accept his money and just let him pay a light bill, that's the type of business he was giving me. And that goes a long way with it. So, it's a tricky balance. You got to watch that you're not just boozing up at the end of the night at your business.
Very true. Maybe you've already answered this then, but what's the kindest thing a stranger's done for you?
There was a customer that it wasn't even during COVID. It was like before this. It was at Franco's maybe a year or two after I opened. And he just sent $1,000 check And I'm like, what the hell is this? It was just made out to Franco's Ristorante.
Like a written check?
Like a handwritten check. And like nowadays, I still deal with checks because I pay my purveyors, but like young people don't know what a check is.
Nope.
Or they ask, could I mobily deposit it?
Exactly.
So I called the customer. I'm like, what, did you do this by mistake? Like your bill was paid? He's like, no, you guys gave me a great service. Divvy that up between the servers and the cooks. And that's phenomenal because in this business, the back of house doesn't get taken care of. There's a huge discrepancy between pay on it. And it's not the owner's fault, but it's just the way this industry works. So that meant a lot where they took the time and they didn't have to spend that money and send it to me because at Franco's it's very hard to spend $1,000. You can't. My food is affordable, my wine's affordable, so it's not like they had a crazy tab. But they enjoyed the experience. It was, I think it was like a christening or something we did for them. They tipped that night, but then they just sent it over and wanted to tip again. So it was a nice little morale booster for my staff. So, you know, I appreciate it. It was a nice, kind-hearted gesture.
Oh, I love that. I love that. What was the first menu item you created for Franco's?
So a lot of the menu items are like classic staples and stuff that was on our menu for a while. So like one of the really popular dishes I have, and it sells a ton at Il Culaccino also, is the spicy penny pesto. So my chef Juan, who's been with us since we've opened, when I'm redoing the menu to open back up, he's like, no, you got to put this on. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like it's time. Let's just freshen up. So first like month that I open, people keep requesting it. So I put that back on the menu. I change it. But the first like new dish I put on there was like chicken jardiniere.
Oh my god!
And that I sell, if I don't sell like 25 to 30 orders of that a night, I don't sell any of it. And what's funny is you can, even though Franco's and Il Culaccino are so close, they're only 5 minutes away.
Right.
What I sell is drastically different.
Really?
So I can't sell rapini at Il Culaccino. But at Franco's, where it's a more Italian base and like an old school customer basis, I could sell that left and right. Franco's, I sell a ton of chicken jardiniere. At Il Culaccino, especially when it's the conventioneers, I barely sell it because they don't know what jardiniere is.
People have no idea what jardiniere is.
So like, I love that all these people are putting it on pizzas and like it's getting popular and all that, but like we've been eating jardiniere our whole life.
Whole life.
Like it's not,
Yes.
yeah, it's great, but it's not this mind-blowing thing, but people don't know what it is. And especially we do ours a little bit different. We make it bigger for the dish.
Yeah.
So that was when I put on that's really popular. And you know what? It's flattering to see it on other people's menus.
Yeah.
Because I don't take credit for a lot, but that's a dish that like you didn't see at restaurants. I put that on and I sold a ton of it. And now when you see it at other places, it's just like I laugh at it. I'm like, we've been eating this our whole life. You know what I mean?
I didn't realize people didn't eat jardiniere, and I'm like, wow, welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah,
like
where you been?
Honestly, it's like, where have you been? First concert you ever went to?
First concert. Man, I can't even remember. I want to say it's like one of those goofy like B96 summer bashes. You know what I mean? Like when you're a little kid, like in high school. I mean, we always went to like stuff at the United Center and all the Disney on Ice and all that BS. But like, I think it was one of those in high school. You thought you were cool. You went to like the stadium in Bridgeview. Yeah. Just weird people all around.
Oh,
like, you know what I mean? It's not a good crowd there.
No, it's not.
But I'm not a big concert guy. I don't like crowds of people.
Okay.
Like I'm real weird with, and I think a lot of that goes back to like the taste and like we do Lollapalooza. Yeah. So like we would see people not in their prime moments. Like they're coming.
That's an understatement. That's an understatement.
High, drunk. The amount of, you could ask my friend Andrew and the busboy, and he's been with us forever. You can ask how many single shoes you find in front of our doors at Franco's at the Fountain after Lollapalooza. Like the stuff you see is crazy. And honestly, if I didn't have the business there, I would never go to Lollapalooza. I would never go to the Taste. Like
same.
It's just great people watching. Like it's nuts.
So next question, and I will share the strangest thing I've ever witnessed at the Taste of Chicago.
Go ahead.
So I'm working for you. It's my very first job. I think I was 14 or 15. Okay. And I'm working the booth. And this woman walks by and she bends down and her whole derriere is hanging out, and tattooed on her back says extra juicy EY. Nice. And I was like,
I believe it.
And someone came up to me like, ma'am, and I was like, like I just was so, I was like, what do you want? And they were like, stracciatella, and I was like, oh yeah, guys. And then I was like, what in God's name did I just witness?
Here, 2 great stories. One, the worst thing about the taste, especially if it's like a 90-degree day.
Oh, because it's July. It's always like 90.
It's a hot day, and like it's great for us because all we sell is Italian ice and gelato. The ladies come up and pull their tickets out of their bra, and they're sweaty and dirty and crinkled up. The other thing that we, I mean, there's so many, you could go on and on, but me and my brother Mario laugh about this every time. There is a bum that comes to the booth every year once or twice a day. And he comes, he gets his lemon ice. I don't know where he gets the money for the tickets. He doesn't ask for anything for free. And one year, my brother went up to him like, buddy, I'm just going to get, like, you're a great customer. Where I was like, just take it. But he's got like nappy dreadlocks that, like, they weren't dreadlocks on purpose.
Right.
The hair just got like that from being a bum. Mm-hmm. And we're like, just take it. He goes, no, I have tickets. Go ahead. And he comes twice a day. He gets his lemon ice. Rain, shine, thunderstorms, whatever it is, it's just the crazy. I mean, it's awesome because it's just a melting pot of people.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't make up the stories.
No, you can't.
At all.
No, you can't.
At all.
Okay, so you and I, both from Chicago, both from Bridgeport, we always got a guy. Who's the craziest guy you got? I don't want to know the person's name. I want to know the type of person.
Okay, and like guy for what? What do you?
So my examples are, I have a butcher who comes to my house and chops the meat.
Yep.
I have an Amazon Fire Stick jailbreaking guy, and I have a foot detox guy.
Okay. So in my business, I come across crazy people. So there was a guy that came 3 or 4 weeks in a row and tried to sell me produce out of the back of his car. So now on my mother's side, their business, my grandfather and all that was all produce. So I know good produce, and it was the nastiest garbage produce that he was getting. Like, it had to come out of a dumpster.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't need that to pass. So I have that. I have a crazy window washer that I'm convinced is like a crackhead, that just comes in for like extra money no matter what it is. There was a guy that was trying to sell me, like, you just get people that don't think you know what scam they're pulling. Mm-hmm. Would actually go and get bottles of wine out of a garbage and fill them up with like Franzia or Welch's. Like, yeah, no, I got this. And he took the time to like rewrap them and all that stuff. So there's too many people to go on and on for. I don't know. I guess they're hustling. I guess they're trying to make money.
I guess you got to give them credit where credit's due.
They're not just sitting at home trying to work the system. So
yeah.
I guess it might work on someone if they come back and forth with it.
Okay. Best piece of advice you've ever been given?
It's tough because you could take it with business, you could take it with not, but I think the biggest thing is, I know it's cheesy, but people say this all the time, if you like what you do, then it's really not working. Mm-hmm. And especially in this business, I had another guy who owned restaurants, and he's got a ton of restaurants, very successful. And he just said, like, don't forget the customers, because no matter what ideas you have, if the customers don't support it, then it's useless.
Yeah.
So you could say you're going to sell a waffle on a stick with a hamburger on top. You could think it's the greatest idea ever, but if it doesn't work and it doesn't sell, do it. So you got to listen to customers, because they're going to give you the input. Now they can be wrong, but they, he told me that when I first started, and I look up to him when he's a great restaurateur, but he said the customers aren't right, but you just got to listen sometimes. And if you listen and you take their advice with a grain of salt and you tweak it and put your spin on it, then you'll be okay.
Okay. Who do you think my next guest should be?
Who have you covered so far? What
we've covered
industries?
a lot.
I know you've done a lot. I've seen a lot of your stuff.
We've done a lot. We've had some neighborhood people on. We've done sports. We've done. I want to get more into the restaurants, because I fell in love with this industry totally on accident. But
here, I'll give you a challenge.
Okay.
Find somebody, because this happened to me, that thinks that restaurants should still be closed. Try to get the opposite spectrum.
Oh.
So you have people, you're getting people in the industry that know the important part of restaurants in the economy. But I had a customer tell me during COVID, it doesn't really affect me because I don't go out to eat that much, and restaurants don't play that big of a part. So get someone really removed that doesn't understand how far the restaurant and bar industry's dollar goes. So when I'm closed, my crackhead window washer isn't around. I'm not paying my liquor salesman because I'm not selling any booze. I'm not buying produce. My valet guy's out of work. So that's how far our dollar works. So
Yeah,
get someone that really thinks that this society of working from home and not leaving is going to be feasible. I don't know how you find it, but try to get someone on the opposite end of the spectrum that thinks they know better than, the rules of society.
I like that. I like that.
I don't know how you're going to get it, but you got to find somebody.
I'll find someone. I will totally find
some
someone.
like goofy COVID forum of that they think we should all live in bubbles or whatever it is, and see what they have to say.
Okay. All right, that is my challenge, and I'm going to do it.
I don't know how I'm just telling you what I see and
but I think
what I come across.
It would be interesting to hear the opposite end of it.
Another good one too is maybe find someone with like one of these ghost kitchens or someone that just does delivery only. Because those industries are going to keep popping up where you can't physically walk into a restaurant, but on the phone there's going to be that restaurant. You don't know where it is. Like the big thing is Chuck E. Cheese started something on Grubhub.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's called Pasquale's Pizzas and Wings. And no one knows what Pasquale's is, but if you look up the address that it was on Grubhub, it's a Chuck E. Cheese. So Chuck E. Cheese started delivering their pizzas and wings and whatever else they were selling out of the Chuck E. Cheese kitchens, but no one knows it's Chuck E. Cheese. They just look. If you go on Grubhub late at night and you're looking for something to eat and you find this Pasquale's Pizza and Wings, you might have no clue what it is, but a lot of restaurants started doing that.
Okay, we're gonna do that. Okay, last two. We're kind of getting back to normal life, or what normal life is going to look like. What is the first thing you want to do?
I want to be able to go out and not have a time restriction on a table, and not have to worry about spreading out. And I'd love to be able to walk through my restaurant and shake people's hands, because I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, right? Like I don't like to hug and kiss, and especially with strangers.
Yeah.
And this was before COVID, but I always enjoyed going up and embracing with the customers or working the room and, hey, how are you? Give them a pat on the back. And right now, I don't do that at all, just because you don't know how other people feel. So if I can do that where I can work the room of one of my businesses and say hello to people like normal, without wearing a mask or without having to say, hey, you want an elbow or a fist or whatever, that'll be kind of the time that I realize, okay, we got through this all and it's over and done with. Okay. It sounds simple,
but it's the simple things that really are the important things. What's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself in this past year?
That I do like the interaction with people. Some days you can walk into your restaurant in a great mood, and as soon as you walk in, someone hits you with this problem and that problem, and you're just in a terrible, shitty mood. But being able to go up to customers, hey, how's it tasting? What's going on? I enjoy that. That's kind of what keeps me going on it. Yeah, I like creating dishes and working in the kitchen and going behind the bar and stuff like that, but I enjoy talking to the customers. And especially when we first opened, it was very challenging. How do you, as a server or bartender, it's hard to know when to intercede and when not to, right? Like you might get those customers that sit at the corner of the bar and I'm not going to talk to that guy.
Because they don't want to be talked to. Yeah.
But then you have those other people that go to a bar because they want to converse with you and they don't let you polish a glass or open a beer to save your soul.
And I can't do the tickets in the well.
No.
And then,
and it backs up the whole thing.
Everything, yes, yes.
So, to navigate that, but it was just hard because some people came in with a face mask, a face shield, another mask, and gloves, like plastic gloves. So I'm like, I'm not going to talk to that table. I'm going to just go away. You know what I mean? So once you could get back to, just going up, greeting people, and not them like looking at you like you're the plague, then I'll be happy with it.
All right. Raise your little espresso cup. So we always end on a toast, and the toast is cheers to doing what you love.
There we go. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Alrighty, guys. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. I appreciate you guys hanging on out and listening or watching, whatever you decide to do. Guys, if you enjoyed this, I would absolutely love it if you would leave us a review, share it with your friends, post it on your social media. Tell grandpa about Bar Talk. Tell grandma about Bar Talk. Tell your Aunt Susan, Aunt Sally, whoever it is, Uncle Tony, I don't care. Just tell them about Bar Talk. I want everyone to come to the bar. We're a beautiful, growing community, and I love having all of you here with us as we have some conversations that I hope spark a little something inside of you. All right, guys, that is all I have for you today. So remember to take the time to realize that we have way more in common with each other than we have different. I will see you next week. Take care.